I know, but
I guess we're live. Did you unmute the mics, Brandon?
Yes.
All right, we're here.
Did you hear me?
We're here.
All right.
Hey, Brandon, you'll tell us. This is cool.
All right, hey guys, welcome. We're here at the Asteroid Hunter channel, and we've been having a great time hunting asteroids, as you know. And one of the things that we've been challenged with lately has been the weather, for sure. We've got a bright moon going on too, so been a lot of challenges, especially with the weather. So it's actually really cloudy outside right now. We were going to set up outside and see if we can do some imaging, do some stuff, but we couldn't do it. So we're inside. We're inside the observatory slash control center slash man cave here at Asteroid Hunter Central. And we got Dr. D, Daniel Manzi from Woodland Hills Camera and Telescope, and we got Mirko Maher from he's our resident imager, I should say, who's a local
resident
guy.
Customer too.
Resident customer of the store, and
good customer.
was gracious enough to bring his setup over and his refractor, and we could just talk some imaging and astrophotography. We're going to show some images that Mirko's taken. You saw them kind of in the beginning of the stream, and they're fantastic. And I'm just going to kind of turn it over and be humbled at your guys' feet, you know. So you just do your thing. We're grateful to have you here, man. It's awesome.
Yeah,
so,
it's cool.
Awesome. Yeah,
and we
cool.
wanted somebody like you here.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Yeah, because and Mirko's a cool customer. He's actually one of the ones I enjoy the most. And I just want to say this, and I mean this sincerely, is that I think one of the things I've always admired about you is just because it's funny, man. Mirko would come by the store at like near closing. And he's like, I'm heading up to the mountain. I'm like, what do you mean you're going to the mountain right now? I need this, I need that, I need a filter or whatever.
Right.
So much.
And I'm like, he's like a foot trooper. He is.
I
He's
gotta
like
get
a
up
foot
there,
trooper.
nighttime setup.
He goes up at night. I'm just like, this guy's crazy. He'll go in traffic, rush hour traffic to get where he's got to go.
Well, he's got a passion.
He's a
That's for sure, man. I mean, when I was talking to him on the phone, it's like he can just go because he's passionate about it.
He's cool.
Yeah,
He is,
awesome.
and he does great
Awesome.
work in such a short period. I mean, you've only been imaging what?
Since
years now,
I
right?
want to say since 2016 was when I really got my first setup. It was a Celestron C-Gem, and then I had a unfortunate. Well, I chose a 10-inch Newtonian to put on
That wasn't unfortunate because I thought the images he took of that. I wanted him to tell everybody about it because I thought it was cool.
I was set up with DSLR at first, and then I slowly, not slowly, but relatively in a quick process, jumped over to cooled Astro cameras, which I'm using right now.
Yeah, that's a popular camera, that one.
Yeah, the ZWO ASI.
But it took you time to get to this point here because I think when you started out, you were using the 10-inch Newtonian, right?
Yeah.
It was a 10-inch f4, I think, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
And it had like a field flattener or something in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was astonished because you had it mounted on a C-Gem, the Celestron C-Gem, which is a mount that's like technically supposed to be a cut below what this CGX is.
Yeah, I think it was if I remember right, 45-pound capacity, whereas this one has been, it's upgraded to a 55 capacity carrying 55-pound capacity.
Yeah, but you were taking it. I'm not kidding you, man. I was astonished. You were with the 10-inch. You were taking good images with that.
Yeah, and it was kind of funny. It was like a battle because it was a little bit heavy for the mount, and the mount, obviously had some errors, and you would have to like polar line perfect, balance perfect. And
it just cracks me up what he was doing with it. We
don't
don't even have them on Astroban, right? We didn't.
I do
post
have
them.
a couple of them on
Maybe
Astroban
we can
right
take
now.
a look
Actually,
at
my
those.
my first images on that. Yeah.
And then we were debating about refractor and this, and you went with the Hyperstar, and so tell us about that experience.
Yeah. I mean, it was basically I thought when I jumped over to the Celestron tube, I wanted to go longer focal length, so I wanted to take pictures of galaxies. And then I went, in order to do that, you're doing longer focal lengths. Therefore, you need a better mount. So I upgraded my mount, sold my old mount, upgraded this. But then I also said, hey, I want to try using the wide field version for this tube. The great thing about the tube is that it can go from f10 long focal length to an f7 to an f2.3, which is what this adapter on the front of the telescope allows it to do. And running it at f2.3 is very fast, so you get an amazing amount of light in a very short time. And I got to say, ever since I've done that, it's been very addictive to not to use this only and not go to my f7 refractor or my other smaller.
Because you're collecting a ton of data in a real short period of time.
Yeah, and I always tell people that the equivalent, the factor, is the square of the focal length. So if I'm running at f2.3 compared to say an f7, it's the f7 squared. It's square of 7 over square of f 2.3. So that is about a factor of 10. So an hour of this is equivalent to about 10 hours of an f7 refractor.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've actually
Cool.
taken pictures of using my f7 refractor and this, and my f's. Don't get me wrong. I love my f7 refractor. It's awesome. It takes beautiful photos, but it's the
Right.
amount of time which that you have to invest in order to get the
information,
the
data,
the photon
subs,
density. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, the neat part we were talking about earlier is just the idea of having actually 3 telescopes in one
Yeah.
with the
yeah.
Schmidt,
Yeah, because
with
you're
this setup. It's just a really slick. I mean, this is what we're running for chasing the asteroids. I mean,
Asteroids.
the 11 behind you is what we're using, but I also have the 8
yeah,
as
you
well
do
that I've
shooting
gathered
with
a
the
number of
eight.
data. We actually had we were able to get an asteroid on some measurements of it just last week and get some stuff
kinda cool.
submitted to the Minor Planet Center using the Hyperstar, and it's just amazing being able to have that versatility for sure. And yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, for us, we're taking 1 minute subs,
Yeah.
so I need as much gathered as I can, and I have a massive advantage over a lot of even bigger scopes that are because I'm chasing something that's moving across the sky, right? So
Yeah.
my 1 minute sub versus some of their 1 minute subs at f10, f7, it's like.
And he doesn't have to do any
pretty,
processing.
Pretty incredible, yeah.
Because he's
so-
just collecting raw data,
Yeah.
whereas you're
I mean,
doing nice
yeah.
fancy pictures.
The one thing, the amazing thing about the Hyperstar is, actually, I'm taking 180-second subs, but I'm in the city. When I'm in the city,
Yeah.
I'm doing narrowband because obviously.
Show us the filter how you do that.
Yeah, so basically,
It's pretty cool. It's filter slide.
basically it's a slider. It's a filter slider. Star Arizona sells they basically come with the. I believe they come with the adapter, but basically you screw on the H alpha filter. The H alpha, it only allows a certain band in the red to pass through.
It's a
And-
Star Arizona part.
yeah.
We sell it too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we work
it's-
with Star Arizona.
It's super
so.
quick. You just pull it out, put it back in, and then focus the scope,
Right.
and then you're good to go.
How hard is it for you to focus, and how are you focusing? Use a Batnoff? You said no, right?
So
You're not using a Batnoff.
I used to use a Batnoff mask
But-
when I was bringing my laptop to the field, but since then, what I've recently upgraded. Well, I recently got the this little box right down here. It's from ZWO. It's
Yes,
called the ASI Air, and what it allows you to do
It's a
is
cool little
basically
device.
it broadcasts what the telescope and the camera is seeing onto your phone. We'll show you some snapshots of what the interface looks like. But I'm able to focus, polar align, capture, review, save, all on my phone. And it also allows you to go.
So you're not
to-
using any laptops in the field,
No, I just
Yeah.
bring
and you
my
don't
phone
have
and
to
then
draw
all-
the current, carry all the current. You got one battery down there. I don't know
Yeah.
if it shows on there, but
Yeah.
that's all you need to power.
Yeah,
Whereas
and
the
all
laptop-
I'm doing really is just one cable, and when I'm guiding wide field, I'll have sometimes I'll have the William Optics refractor piggybacked
Guiding on
on
top.
this, to guide for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
That will plug in, and I can also see I can also see my the guide star as well. Select a guide star, and I can switch between guiding, capture, focus, preview.
Yeah.
It's a really slick piece of software, and I've been super happy with it.
Brandon, we had somebody in the chat ask who's on the left. Is that what it is? Well, those that are just joining us, we have Daniel Mounsey from Woodland Hills Camera and Telescopes, telescopes.net, who is gracious enough to be our sponsor on our Asteroid Hunter channel. So we're unfortunately under cloudy skies right now. So we just thought, you know what, we're gonna get some friends over here to talk some astrophotography, some imaging. We got our friend Mirko Maher, who is this is his hobby. He loves it. He's not by far doesn't make his living doing this. That's the dream, right? I mean, we all have the dream. But you know what? He takes incredible images for a guy that throws his equipment in his car and runs up into the mountains and pulls it out. And his images are just really fantastic for what he does. So we wanted to get him on the channel and just have him show some of his stuff and show off some of the equipment. And we're just kind of here talking about it right now.
You
So
know? That's what's
yeah,
cool. The
it's
real
awesome.
experiences with it.
Oh yeah, for sure. So.
But
Brandon,
so
we're
far-
sounding okay? Everybody okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to have my son walk around behind you and put headphones on so he
Sure
can
thing.
just monitor the
Yeah.
audio. And can you monitor the chat from your other station over there?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And so all the images you're doing, Mirko, are posted on Astrobin, right?
Yeah.
Astrobin.com is like the Facebook of astro imaging
I'm
for people
also
those who
on,
don't know.
I'm also on Instagram as Dark Sky Explorer.
Dark
Yeah.
Sky Explorer. Okay.
You might be able to pull
So
it
I have
out.
an internet site, darkskyexploring.com.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Shout out us, Brendan. Any chats that come about? 'Cause,
Yeah.
we can see the screen over here, but we won't see those chats pop up. So
But I do want to convey that the rate, to me at least, the rate that you were acquiring all this knowledge was pretty amazing. And and the images look very nice. If you go to his Astrobin page, Mirko's images look really
appreciate
wonderful.
that.
And by the way, and I was mentioning it for those who are not familiar with Astrobin, you can look up any product. So if you're dubious or skeptical about any product, you can literally punch in that product, and you'll see a bunch of imagers that have shot with whatever the product is. It might be a camera, telescope, whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Just so an FYI for people that don't know.
So and then this
yeah.
is your refractor that you use as a guide, basically.
But
Mostly,
that
right,
is an
Mirko?
amazing, yes.
Yeah,
but
Willie
I will
Mock is
say it's
awesome.
an amazing imaging scope. So I shot the Comet Wirtanen and the Pleiades, which actually was just included in the May issue of Astronomy magazine. I shot that with that telescope. It's an amazing telescope. I actually didn't even set the back distance correct. It was.
Did they release the May? They should have by now, because we at our
Soon.
store we get them like 2 months, 3 months in advance. It's crazy.
Yeah, so
I have to check that out. Now, what's your thoughts on the ZWO 1600? That's the camera you're using here. It's got nice small pixels. What's your thoughts on that?
I
It's
think
cooled.
the ZWO 0. It started with the ZWO 071. It's a one-shot color camera. It requires you to go to a dark site, preferably, unless you want to be in the city shooting with, filters, moon and city light block filters.
Yeah.
But what is incredible about it, and I came from the DSLR from Sony, and then also Pentax, but it has an incredible dynamic range. It is just insane. I set the gain
Compared
to
to like a DSLR, right?
yes,
Yeah.
and the noise is just.
That's what we want to share,
Yeah.
so people that are watching understand like the difference between a DSLR or something like that too, so they
Yeah.
can appreciate it. So are you saying, so for dark skies, the color's good?
Yeah.
For light polluted skies, you like the monochrome
I do
because
the
you use
mono.
filtration, you get the
Yes.
sensitivity.
That's what we use. We shoot with a mono.
Okay.
But for me, color is not important. I'm
Yeah, you need
chasing little white.
sensitivity
I
is
need
what you're
sensitivity. I'm
after.
looking for little white dots flying
Little
around
white
the sky.
dots flying.
But
Yeah, you need
I do know,
sensitivity.
like Simon in the stores mentioned in your ZWO video you guys did, he was talking about for those that are kind of starting out, color camera's the way to go because you get instant gratification, right? You take a shot, it comes up on the screen. You see nebulosity, you get excited, and you want to continue on. So I love black and white. I know Daniel and I share that
I
love
love
as
black
well.
and white.
I'm
It
totally
has a
black and white guy.
nostalgic look,
Love it.
artistic look to it,
totally,
too.
totally. So,
Yeah.
but for sure, color is fantastic to get gratification. If people that are getting into it should do that right off the bat. I recommend, for sure.
And how's the mount working for you?
The mount.
You started with the C-Gem.
Yeah.
And then you worked into this. Now I understand at first it wasn't, you were having a little bit of guiding, or it was a guiding issue or something
Yeah,
at first, right?
I had an issue with the deck motor.
Right.
I was getting some errors. With the guiding, you're locking onto a star. Just for viewers who don't know what guiding is, basically it's a computer. It's a program that uses a camera to lock onto a star and make that star stationary with in the camera's view as the Earth rotates and the sky rotates, or looks like it rotates, but it's following it. So with that setup, the C-Gem, I was having these crazy
At first?
these jumps with
Right.
this setup, the deck. I was getting deck errors, declination errors.
Right.
And so, but I brought it into Celestron, and they were really just super, super cool. And they just said, hey, you know what? We're just going to open up a new box for you, and you just take the new one. And
Oh, that's cool.
awesome.
That's nice. That's really cool.
See, and that's important, right? I mean, it's all
I
about
tell
support.
people if you're imaging,
Honestly,
the
man.
service too is important.
yeah.
It is very important.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Well, that's the mount we're using too, the CGX, and I just love it. And I haven't. I mean,
I'm still
it's
learning
pretty,
things with this.
Oh, I
thing.
know it does so many different things.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like half the time I'm using 20% of what these things are capable of, but. But I will say, like, we also got the on that one we have the new Celestron electric focuser that you sent to me, and I put that on. Oh man, that thing works
tell
really
some of the viewers
slick.
about that,
So-
because I understand you had to do some downloads first.
So yeah, what happened is when I
first started?
it, I turned it on, and the hand controller, the whole point was I want to focus from the hand controller to align the telescope, and then I wanted to come back here and focus it from my computer, from my workstation. So when I plugged it in, the hand controller wasn't seeing it. So I'm like, what's going on? So I had to do some research, and I figured out, I basically had to update the whole hand controller. So I went on Celestron's site, and I had to, I was able to do it. And once I did the update, then the focuser's in the menu. So, and it works awesome, man. You just basically, what I'll do is I'll align the telescope with Polaris, and then when I put the Hyperstar on, that's what I use to focus. Is I'll just leave it on Polaris. But I'll kind of get an idea with the hand controller, and then as soon as I plug the computer over here, I open the PWI software, and I can just focus it via my computer. So everything happens from the main workstation. So once I'm set, but I will say the focuser, you plug it in, and it's like, it works. There wasn't much to it, honestly. As long as you put the right back plate that the manual says, and you put it on there. You don't want to tighten it too much. I also noticed that there's 2 screws that actually hold the unit on there.
Secure.
And I tightened them too much, and then the focuser wouldn't focus smoothly. And I backed them off a little bit, and then it was like free spinning. So you got to kind of mess with the way it's mounted on there, I noticed. Just the way it attaches to it. It slides onto the main focus knob, but there's 2 screws that basically keep it from spinning.
Are you
on there.
experiencing any? So you're using with the Hyperstar, right?
Yeah.
I was wondering, do you experience any image shift?
You know what?
Or focus shift?
I haven't really. Well, I shouldn't. No, not
Okay.
really. Not really at all. It's been really well. And in between the 8, I have the 8 HD, and then the 11. Very minimal. Are we okay? Good.
I'm just checking.
Okay. My son is monitoring the stream. God bless him. He's our tech support
How we
behind the
doing,
scenes.
Brandon?
So, excuse me, but yeah, I haven't gotten really much of that at all. Everything's been really, really smooth. Even I also want to say too, I got a version 3 Hyperstar I got online for that 11, and I got it, and I went to put it on, and I screwed it on, and it was kind of sloppy.
Oh, wow.
So I called Dean at Starzona, and he says, "Oh, I know why. The threads that you got from the Hyperstar, that's a version 3, are American threads, and there's Chinese threads on that, on the 11. So he sent me a whole new unit to screw on there, but I didn't even know that. It's like, you could thread it on there, but it was kind of, didn't feel, it wasn't tight.
Yeah.
So as soon as I called Dean, he's like, "Oh yeah, I already know." So I didn't even know that. I don't know if you knew that, but basically, these Chinese threads, there's Hyperstars that are online used, that are in great shape, but they may have the wrong threading. So you got to call Dean, and he'll send you the correct threads. But as soon as I did that, I screwed it on there. It worked fine. But I've had very little, like the collimations, like been spot on these things.
Yeah, that's the
I've
one
had
thing
to do very little work to any of that stuff.
That's the one thing that I notice with the fast stars, that for me it's a sensitive on the collimation and the focus.
Yeah.
So that's the question.
How long did it take, out of curiosity?
Focus.
How was the experience? Was it like you were shooting and you saw a star and you made an adjustment? How was that experience for you?
That's also one thing. The lesson
Because I think people would want to know that.
Yeah, so you get a bright star in the field of view, and in my case, it's often Polaris or whatever star's up, 6 magnitude or 8. You don't want to use the brightest star, but you get that star centered, and you turn these little knobs here. There's 3, and you're basically getting the center obstruction to be centered on an out of focus star.
Yeah.
But as you do that, what happens is, the lesson that I've learned is that image will shift, obviously. And so what you need to do is you need to reposition the telescope so that image is centered.
Centered, right.
Because if you use it out of the shift,
you'll see
you're not going to be collimated correctly.
And your stars are going to look
recenter. You have to remember to recenter. There's so many things as you do in this hobby for photographing the sky, and it's like I think it's like, I forget how many steps. I think it's like 50 steps or something. And even last time I was imaging, I forgot to tighten these bolts where the head hits the tripod. Dude, that will affect you. Yeah.
I know. Little things will.
Little things like that.
I was doing planetary imaging one time in my backyard with a friend of mine, with Tom Bash. He's just an amazing guy, imager. And he goes, and I'm walking around, and I swear you can see the planet moving around on the screen. And when you're on 4 feet, 4-inch thick concrete, you think it's not moving. It is.
Yeah.
It's incredible. you
Yeah.
know, you see it sometimes. So
Yeah, the other day we were set up out here and there was barely any breeze, man. And I'm like taking subs. It's like, oh, that
No
one looks
problem.
good. That one looks good. All of a sudden, that one's like,
oh, just
it's like
crazy.
just
yeah,
very little wind will affect
Yeah.
these things.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
unbelievable. You go outside and I'm like, I don't even feel a breeze. Oh, I guess there's a breeze there, but it was enough to just shake it enough to where it's like
very-
that image is useless. You know?
Yeah.
It's amazing how precise things have to be, to get a good image.
The other thing too
I'm
is
not
we'll
very-
need to. Sorry, go ahead. Tell me.
I was just saying, I'm not like super particular about like, some people will like examine each, like say like they take 60 photos to integrate or stack, they will like scrutinize every one to.
Oh, I've been to the shows, man. All they do is go to
pixel,
the
what I
corner.
call pixel inspect.
Right.
Me, I believe what Deep Sky Stacker tells me, so I use that
Sure.
software to stack. But I'm trying to do it, in a relatively quick manner. I don't want to really kill myself with too much processing. It's more of the experience of, gathering it, being out there. And
Well, see, and that's what's important. Daniel and I talk about that all the time too. We can get so caught up in the tech of this stuff that we
Yeah.
forget what we're doing. You can
true.
see behind you here where a lot of my passion lies. It's in the history of astronomy. Daniel will tell you
that's
I'm fascinated
really cool.
by
Very
16th, 17th century guys that
Oh, look at this.
that did some incredible things, and
Amazing
Is there a
stuff.
better view of it from that camera, the one near Daniel?
What's that?
which
Brandon?
one?
Is there a better view
Of the
just show 'em
telescope? They wanna
with
see
the
it?
telescope and the
Well, let me do
Oh,
this
better
for
view
'em.
of what? You mean
They want to
of
see it.
the library.
Oh, I
Oh,
think
the
you
library?
Can see it.
Oh,
I mean,
I
I
just
think
step
you
out
can
of the way.
see the books there, though. I think you see
I'm
it.
just trying to see, just because you're talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
The outside, switch the outside one. It's a webcam.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm just fascinated with those guys did so much with so little, and we get so caught up in some of this stuff that it's like, hey, let's remember, what we're really doing. I mean, the fact is, we're taking images of stuff that's millions of light years away, and
thousands.
unbelievable what we are accomplishing out of our backyard with the technology we have today.
And within the
you
last
know.
10 years, right? Or
Oh.
15 years. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
using
true.
my phone
Yes,
to not
to
only
yeah.
capture, but to point my telescope
I know.
where I want it to
Well,
go.
and I'm
It's
gathering
crazy.
I'm gathering asteroid data
Yeah.
out of my backyard with my 14-year-old son
Yeah.
with very little to no experience.
Yeah.
And it's like it's only because the technology helps me get there. I mean that's the neat part. But
And
it's
of course, Woodland Hills Telescope. and
absolutely you
Yeah,
got
it
great
is.
support.
camera. Gotta
I'm
plug
telling
that.
you. And then we also got to talk about I'll show people the Astrobin page. Sorry, I got to send these links
Yeah,
to a
no
couple of
worries.
people.
You guys want to?
I want to show.
Yeah,
I want to show Mirko's work on there.
Yeah, you want to come around?
It's
We'll just
awesome.
kind of take some seats and we're
Yeah,
going
Mirko,
to set
go
up
over there and
different
talk about
stations
it.
here, guys. And
Because
yeah, go ahead, just switch it over. There you go. Do we have?
All right, we're in the command center. This is very cool.
If you want to switch, I think you're
the command center.
Yeah, so we got a there's a chat gentleman says you guys should design and market a quick setup windbreak screen to put around to protect your telescopes from wind motion. I mean, you can. I mean, obviously they have that, right?
Observatories, yeah. A lot of people have backyard observatories. You can actually purchase these polyethylene domes. But for someone like me who lives in a very small place in a city, that is not possible at the moment. But with not much of a backyard, so I need to tear down and pack up the car and go somewhere with it.
Is that one right there? Astrobin?
Yeah. Well,
What page are you on?
I just want to throw this up here.
Oh, we're talking about
People
the
can
wind
see
speeds?
this
Yeah.
windscreen thing, right? So this is something that
Oh, 365 astronomy. That's kind of cool. A little telescope tent.
Yeah, the old Kendrick used to sell that. That's not a Kendrick though, is it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, Kendrick started that, as far as I know. It was back in the day.
So they make these little tents. Do you use anything, Mirko, or you just?
I do not. What I do is I position my car
Oh, do you?
to block the
Okay.
wind, or around somebody's trailer or something if there's somebody around there.
Hey, it works.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry, guys. So what do we want to look at, Dan? You want to look at some of his images here?
Totally do. I want people to get an idea what he's doing with that Hyperstar and that.
Now, are these if I just go, like, let me go, like, tell us about that one.
So yeah, that one was recently shot. I don't know if you can pull up my Astrobin on this one right
Yeah, I
here, but
can.
we'll have
It'll
like,
tell you
when I
what
shot it.
what's
Yeah,
where.
Yeah, what's where. And,
Okay, hang on a second. Let me just, I want to stop this thing from rolling, so it should.
there you go.
Let's see if it'll stop here. Forgive my, trying to get my technical data here going on, so.
And Mirko, by the way, all the shots here, the majority of them, are they with the ZWO 1600, correct?
Well,
So that's this guy?
all the narrowband stuff is with the 1600. Yes.
Exactly,
Yeah.
narrowband. And
So-
you probably need, I mean, we talked about narrowband, but I guess you can discuss it as you're showing the images. That'll be kind of cool.
Yeah. So this was just actually I shot this this winter from my house basically, and
You're talking about the rosette here.
the rosette, yeah,
Yeah,
here.
cool.
So that actually I have couple versions here. The one that I like is the one that came out with the blue.
The blue,
Oh,
by the way, is reflection.
The blue
so people know.
image, you mean? Should I go back?
The
This
next
one?
to- Yeah, this is the 03. This is actually how it should
Okay.
look. It's more correct to the color.
Is,
No,
is
this
that the one?
That
No.
one right there.
This one right here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let me download this thing here so I can.
Oh, you actually did.
Yeah, it's cool.
So what I did was, I basically collected like 33-minute
guy.
subs for each filter. I'm using an Oxygen 3 and a H alpha filter. And then what I do is I use PixInsight to process this, and I create a green channel. Basically, you take the mono of the mono channel of the red and the blue, the O3, and then you create use an equation in Pixel Math and PixInsight to create a synthetic green channel, and then you combine all the channels into a color image, and that's what we got here.
Hey, Mirko,
Yeah.
what's your opinion on, because some people want to know, they're curious, like, about processing softwares. So you're using PixInsight, which is a pretty advanced program. I mean, it's a very powerful program.
I got to tell you, I was like,
Yeah.
it was a fight to get me to spend the money to get it. But
Right.
and it has a steep learning curve, but thankful
Mhm.
there's a ton of YouTube videos,
Right.
and there's a lot of really good resources. I know on the previous episode you guys had you were showcasing a couple of those videos. But yeah, I'm using PixInsight, but I was,
Do you have any
just-
suggestions for people that don't want, that may not have the money to sell out on a?
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
your-
Photoshop
you wanna
is
share?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Photoshop is a great program for that. There's a $10 subscription, and you can do great stuff with Photoshop. And
Tons of
I
people
know
use
there's other
imagers.
folks on the web. Astro Backyard, he uses Photoshop, takes awesome pictures. He has some great tutorials on the use of Photoshop. So I follow him.
So I use PixInsight as well. I'm not using it to the extent that you use it. I mean, basically we bring it in. I'll apply darks to my images, and then I'll star align through PixInsight, and then I'll blink the images through there. But the star alignment and I just like how it processes that. It lines the images really well. And but I tell people all the time too. People will spend, and people spend thousands of dollars on equipment and then go out and then complain about spending $100 on software. So it's like, look, and I try to tell them this is where a lot of the magic happens, is in there. It's like, so,
it's where you can get that.
Thank you, Jeff Simon, for the subscribe. Appreciate you being here, man.
I just text him that he better subscribe if he knows what's good for him.
That's it, man.
I'm gonna
Thank you
get
for
him.
being here. Appreciate it.
Just so you guys know who Jeff Simon is, he is the marketing master. He basically runs Skywatcher USA.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah, Jeff's
Well,
a good buddy of mine.
hey, Brandon, do we have real quick? I'm gonna just throw a plug in here, guys. So we have the Discord, and we're trying to get people onto the Discord. It's kind of a hub for us to be able to post news articles, stuff that we're doing as the Astro Hunters, my son and I. But also we're kind of linked in with telescopes.net. So if you guys have questions anything. You can post stuff on the Discord, anything that I can't answer or whatever we can pass on to Daniel, to Mirko, to other people. We're kind of trying to create a hub for everybody. And and the thing that's nice about the Discord is it'll run 24 hours a day. So if we're not streaming, you can still post on there, and we'll get those messages, and we can talk and answer questions through that. So we'd love for you guys to subscribe, and if you like what you see, please click the follow button, man. And love to have you aboard there, and just great to have everybody here. So those of you that are kind of joining us late, we're here with Daniel Mounsey from telescopes.net. Dr. D, thank you, course sir, for the subscribe. And
Bill?
Is that a friend of yours?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. And we got Mirko Maher here, who's just a friend of ours, friend of the store, and just likes to image. Well, I say image on the weekends, but I hear he's a little crazy and will take off in the weekday.
I missed that. Who's crazy, Mike? Who'd you say?
Well, Mirko told me. I said, so I know you're a weekend guy. He goes, well, sometimes I'll get off work and be like, okay, I'm going. So I know he goes out and stays out late and probably gets no sleep the next day. But but that's all part of it, right? When you're trying to capture these images.
I thought you could sleep in the car while you're imaging, man. What's
That's
up?
right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to make it sound like, oh, it's real easy.
Exactly.
But sometimes if I get home and it's like 7:30 and I can get to this pretty dark site within an hour and a half. By the time it's like 8:30, I can be set up by 9:30. I can be back by 1 a.m. pretty easily. So that's a I can get a solid 6 hours, and then it's not.
How many objects do you shoot in one night, Mirko, or is it just one the whole night?
Well, it's usually just when I'm doing that, it's just one that whole night. I've done like 4 objects on one night with the one-shot color camera and the Hyperstar. You can do like 4 objects easily in a night. It depends, if you're doing, I'll try to spend between an hour to 2 hours for each target on a weekend. I've done that before. There was a run in my Astro bin where I shot M33 Pleiades.
Yeah.
I think it was the Iris Nebula and the Veil Nebula, like all in one night.
So most of what you're doing is narrowband, correct?
I do a bit of both. But lately, if I'm staying home and I don't want to drive, I'm going to do the narrowband.
That's cool.
So that picture right there, the horse head, that was with the William Optics. That was at a dark site. So using the one-shot color camera.
The horsey head.
Yeah.
That's cool. Get the flame.
Extremely popular target, right? So
It's a showpiece.
let's. I want to come back to this, but I want to talk something right now because this is what's happening out there, and I know that there's an art form to this. I want to talk about shooting the moon. So because I know that you can't just go out and just take one shot and this comes out like this, right? So talk us through, and probably what I would probably say, and look, I'm pretty new at a lot of this stuff, but I would probably tell people, hey, if you want to get into this, shoot the moon, shoot some of the planets, do some of that to start. And then that'll kind of give you an idea of how to handle things, right? I mean, that's a
great way to do. I mean, that to believe it or not, that's how I actually got into this. Really, was I was holding up my DSLR with a 50mm lens, trying to get it to focus on my Dobsonian telescope of like Saturn or Jupiter, and I would capture a video of that, and then I would take that. That video is comprised of so many frames, and then I would use another software that would pick out the best frames and then stack those frames on top of one another. And when you're dealing with astrophotography and shooting just basically anything, celestial object in general, that you're going to be taking multiple photos of that same object and what's called stacking them on top of one another so that it averages out the signal or the data. It increases the signal to noise ratio.
Did you see how many frames you have on this?
So this moon photo, I used my Celestron tube actually with my full frame DSLR, and I shot I think 300 photos. Okay, I basically just took 300 snapshots of this moon. Right, I took those 300 photos and I ran them through another free software. It's available online. It's free. It's called Registax. And there's also another one called Auto Stacker.
Yeah.
And what that does is it basically processes the best 300 frames, say like you want to use the best 50% of them, and then it makes this final image, and then I saturate it to show the actual colors that exist on the moon. What we're seeing here is actual mineralized portions of the lunar surface.
Pretty cool.
So
That's amazing.
yeah.
You got another one here.
It just cracks me up how much Mirko's can accomplish
I
in
know,
such a
man.
short period of time, man.
That's
I mean,
true,
the
right?
imaging will bring that out of you, though, because
Yeah.
it's you know, it teaches you a lot.
And this shot here is of the recent lunar eclipse.
This is what's been happening a lot. Like, it seems like there's an eclipse or a blood moon or a something super
wolf
blood,
moon,
blue
yeah.
wolf, Ralph, whatever moon going on. There's just tons of stuff happening all the time, right? This is a great shot.
So this was basically shot the same way that I was just described in that previous photo. This was just a collection of, you know, I think I took 15 frames or something for this one, and then stacked them on one over another, and then processed it. This, I believe, I just processed in Photoshop or something. I don't think I even used Deep Sky or PixInsight.
And
Thanks, Simon, for the subscribe, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
oh, is that Simon?
Hey, he
Our Simon?
yeah, well,
Or-
is that somebody? Is it Simon 2940 says, Daniel, where's my platinum compression ring in the chat, man?
Really?
That's what he said. Somebody wrote that.
It must be
Right here.
somebody. I'm probably gonna have a bunch of enemies.
Don't
Yeah,
worry
that's
about it.
awesome, man.
Don't
I
worry about
hate
it.
Tribe. It's got.
Here he is, right here. Yeah,
We're gonna be
yeah,
talking
that's the guy right there.
smoke
That's
and,
the guy.
Don't worry about it. I'm still waiting for my chroma filter.
Hey, Brandon, make sure that you cut out the camera. Like when the guys talk smack about me, just make sure you edit that part out. Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's go back to because this obviously is a. Is it this
I
one?
want to know
Yeah.
if this is one of his favorites, like Mirko's.
All right, so one of my favorites really is just the.
That's what I want to see.
Let's see here.
It's
I'll
Simon
tell you this.
It's like
Is it
Simon on
Simon?
the phone. Simon Tang.
Is it?
I got
Okay.
you on speakerphone. Here, wait.
You
Should I
call
take
in.
you off? Are you watching us right now? What's up?
He's calling him.
Calling in. Hey, go show me.
So load up this one
We're-
right here. This is
Yeah, I know. There is a bit of a delay.
is
We're talking
M78.
about you right now.
I think that's the
is
one.
it that one?
You know, we're going to
Yeah.
have Simon Tang's going to be talking about solar imaging. But
Yeah,
anyway,
we'll
it's
have Simon
Mirko's
on
show
some
right
point,
now. We're
for
talking
sure, you know.
Mirko. Keep going, guys.
So
Never
this,
mind me,
This
I'm just
image
listening
right
to
here
Simon
is
right now.
this is one I took back in February, or actually it's around February 1st. But what's cool, what I've been doing is I've been collaborating with other
Yeah,
folks
man, I wanna have
on
you on.
Instagram, and there's another guy on
Great.
Instagram. His name is Tim Morrill. He's known, I believe it's Tim1188 on Instagram. If you don't follow him, you should, because he
the
takes
math
this
mailer.
amazing.
Tim
Yeah, no, we're gonna
1188.
figure out
Yeah, let me see which. Just make sure I have it.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's Timm 1138. And so what we've been doing is
Here,
like
before you say that, TIMM
1138.
No, we're figuring that out, so I'm sure
Is
you'll
this
have
him
something
right
to add
here?
to that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so let me. I'm just gonna. Tim, we're gonna put you right on the screen here, man.
Never mind my voice.
There you go. There's his Instagram.
Hey, Brandon, my voice isn't
Tim1138.
too
Look at these
overpowering,
solar
right? I'm
images.
talking to Simon.
No, it's okay.
Look at this.
All right, good.
Yeah, he takes these incredible.
I just want to
solar
make sure our
images.
viewers get to see what. Oh, this is the solar, Mirko?
Yeah, this is my friend in.
Okay.
He's in Iowa.
Yeah.
And what he's been doing is we've been
Simon, I
collaborating
want you
on
to
a
put
lot of
yours on here.
images
We gotta
where
show them
he shoots
how you do yours.
H alpha,
That'd be cool.
and I'll go get color data, and then we'll combine it, and then that's
Yeah,
what
it'll be
this
cool.
that's what this image is right here. This
Oh, the one
yeah,
above here.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So this one is. Daniel's on the phone with Simon.
Okay, man,
From
I'll
the
see you
store
later.
still.
yeah, get off the phone.
Sorry, man. That's Simon that
It's
shoots all our
business.
videos.
Talking
at
business, man. We're doing
telescopes.net.
business. You know what? This is a live stream. You know what I mean? And things happen. So, we're not holding back here trying to.
Simon's
make this all
watching.
pristine.
He says this is great.
Awesome.
Yeah, these are really impressive here.
These
Yeah.
are very impressive. This
Yeah.
is cool.
Yeah, how do you get that shot? That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean,
no,
you
you know what's
got
cool?
reflection in. You have.
How do you get that shot?
He's-
Whoa!
He's doing also. He uses his images and
I
he
love
does.
this.
He does these animations, and I don't know if
Oh, he
you
does.
guys
That's artistic.
show
That's like
one.
Carlos Hernandez.
So is he putting
No,
that
no,
stuff
You guys
in
gotta
there?
Google Carlos Hernandez.
Keep scrolling
This guy's
down. Keep scrolling
amazing.
down. Check out this one,
He's a good
Daniel.
friend of mine. Yeah, what's that?
Keep scrolling. There's one of the horse head. You'll see it animated. That's something that we also collaborated on.
God, there's some cool ones there, man. Look at that.
Okay, I gotta. Is that any better there, Brandon?
See galactic flux on that. Some of those.
Down a bit if I turn myself down. Just a
Your
little bit.
YouTube handle has an underscore, right?
YouTube does not.
Okay, is it just
Only
Asteroid
Instagram
Hunters?
and our Twitch has
Mark,
the.
Mark Bahu.
underscore.
Gosh,
We
Mark.
got another song.
I'm in trouble with Mark Bahu. I got him
thank you
supposed
for
to be
the
getting
sub.
back to him
Who
on an
was it?
observatory. He's going to murder me. Sorry. I'm
Who
sorry.
subbed
It's just
us? I
funny
didn't
because
see.
everybody's subscribing as a customer.
Is
So
this, oh, you said the horse
It's
head.
just
man.
funny.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for. I don't see it in here. Oh, there it is.
Right
Yeah.
here.
So like, click that. I want to show you what he does. He's just got amazing talent doing this stuff. So this is an image that we both. I believe he got some H alpha data. I sent him my color
Oh, that's
data.
cool. It looks 3D animation kind of
Yeah.
looking thing, right?
Yeah.
That is so cool.
He's just a whiz.
Is that music playing with it?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
neat.
here
That
I'll,
is so cool.
I'll unmute it, put it in the desktop. There's a little music for you guys.
That's pretty cool. That's really beautiful.
Pretty slick, right?
Yeah. That's like what Timothy Ferris did with Seeing in the Dark. I mean, he was real adamant about how they were going to do this like 3D kind of stuff, very similar to this whole thing. And that was for Seeing in the Dark. And for those of you who don't know, Seeing in the Dark is an amazing book by Timothy Ferris. You guys got to check that out.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's pretty cool.
It's just amazing the level of detail you can get in this, in this after process video. Like it's still, it's
Yeah,
incredible.
That's pretty cool.
very cool.
So yeah, this is actually you were asking me, Daniel, what's my favorite photo? It's this
Yeah.
M78, and this was a
Pull
collaboration
that up.
with Tim.
Should be there. Amazing.
So
That's really cool.
So
This
I-
one we're looking at right here is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
yeah, he
Yeah, it's
shot.
beautiful.
I
Love the
believe
dark
he
nebulosity.
shot H alpha with his William Optic 71, and then I shot the color data with
Right.
the the ZWO-071 camera, and we basically just sent each
Combined.
other's the data, and we
Combined
processed
it.
an image, and so this is my favorite
Yeah.
right here.
Mirko, you know what's kind of fascinating about that there? You said he used a 71 millimeter refractor?
I believe so.
Or something like that.
Yes, he did. He
I mean, this is obviously, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So he's using he's basically using the same refractor that we were just showing at the beginning of the program here.
Yeah.
And then I'm using that HD with the Hyperstar, and then we're basically
Combine the data.
combining. Yeah, it's amazing. It's incredible how when you overlay the data, it really softens things up. It makes an image that's smoother. Less noise. You can get all this great detail.
Some more information
Yeah.
to work with.
Yep.
That's very cool. It's a beautiful image. And now, what about the ones that you had shot with the 10-inch Newtonian? Did you touch on that? I may have
Yeah,
missed it.
that's going to be at the very beginning of my Astrobin page here.
All right,
Let's go to Mirko's Astrobin page.
Yeah,
Just
let me
take
find that
a look
stuff.
at
Give me
that.
a second here.
So if you scroll way down to the bottom, probably, yeah, that. This
These
was when I
guys?
was pretty much first getting into it. Was like,
So like here,
yeah, that first horse head, or the Orion
let's
Nebula.
look at Orion because it's such a popular target.
Hey, Brandon, do we have any more coffee?
I think so. Let me find out.
Cool, man. Hey, Mike, was there any more coffee in that
Yeah,
thing?
there should be some.
I'll take some.
Here,
Mine's starting to get cool. Thanks.
Yeah, but I mean, Tim is he's got an amazing following. He's doing tutorials online, so you can learn a lot of stuff from him. If you're not following him, do so.
Mirko, would you say a lot of the stuff that you learned was from? I mean, obviously you put a lot of heart and soul going out and doing footwork, but were you watching a lot of videos from YouTube and stuff to get ideas? So what's your? Because people want to know that kind of thing. I would think. How do you do this?
I really like the tutorials that are just really keeping it simple. There's a guy by the name of David Aldrich on YouTube. I highly recommend. That was basically all you need to do is watch his DSLR workflow. If you're new to PixInsight and you want to know how to process images, that is the one video that really just basically explained it all. And then there's other things. Once you get into narrowband, processing in narrowband, you'll find other folks. I think it's Christopher Gomez who's also really good.
Yeah.
So
Do you
yeah.
want to tell our viewers what those diffraction spikes are and how those come about?
Oh yeah. So since I was using
What they are.
Yeah. So what those are is.
You might want to put your cursor over it for some people so they.
Yeah, right here. It's
Yeah.
these
So-
spikes that are coming off.
Yeah.
So the Newtonian has a secondary mirror, so the light hits the primary, then it gets bounced up at the front of the telescope, and in that path, it creates these diffractions, and those diffraction spikes are created by the supports of that secondary mirror. Or I could have just added them.
Right.
We'll
But you
never
know what's
know.
funny? It seems like
Yeah, right.
Hey, but you know, Mirko, all the programs I've looked at that add that in there you can tell it looks artificial. It doesn't look genuine.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is it looks over processed or something, or they look fat.
Yeah.
Whereas here they're just these nice little, piano wires.
Yeah, and
looking
you could
things.
tell,
Beautiful.
I want to point. Whoops! I want to point something out here. How do I full screen that again?
That's okay.
So if you look closely, check this
Yeah.
out. This is how nitpicky I am in my processing, Daniel. Check out those streaks that are going
These
across.
right here.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are satellites.
Yeah, because you're bound to hit one.
So that's
obviously.
basically at your zero deck line. So I have folks that work in the aerospace, friends that work in aerospace. They would appreciate those streaks going across.
Hey
that
man,
image.
that's an asteroid, and we need to chase that. That's what that is, right there, buddy.
I mean, they're out there, and there's
They're out
always
there.
something. Even when you're viewing visually, you see stuff like that.
Oh
Artifacts
yeah,
from
yeah. I
across.
mean, you get
UFOs.
well,
over
yeah,
in
right.
men.
We had somebody a few weeks ago when we were streaming asking us about that stuff. It's pretty funny, some UFO stuff. So
By the way, I was just going to tell people if you want to focus, and focusing is one of the challenges. Just take some really thin string and scotch tape it, crisscross it on the front of your dew cap, and you'll get a double diffraction spike if you're out of focus.
That's true.
Ching. You don't have to. I mean, for me personally, when I used a Batnow mask, I found it a little bit more difficult to use personally, because you get those faint little diffraction patterns. And
you know what's interesting is it's such a subjective thing.
it is. That's
Diffraction
true.
spikes.
There's always going to be some
Everybody-
argument.
people
You say
love
one
them or
thing, there's
hate
going to
them.
be somebody else.
I know.
It's true.
I don't know. Yeah, some people just hate them, and some people. For me, I just want to shoot it as the camera is seeing it,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna go crazy on the. I mean, I'm not gonna zoom in and oh my gosh, the star is shaped like
Right.
it's like 5% out of round, man. I
Yeah.
need to replace that star with the circle. That's just getting too much into it for me. But I appreciate the perfection of these other imagers out there that they're able to achieve, and it's pretty awesome. But I'm more of like just I want to get it shown on a final image, and share it, see what share with others what I did, how I gathered it, what settings I used on my camera. And just basically, share with the community. See what other people are doing too.
So, was this another one of your?
Yeah, so that was taken with a Sony DSLR in the middle of the Mojave Desert, and that's like a half an hour's worth through my through the F4 Newtonian.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah. And this was before I was even taking flats.
Yeah, right.
So it was you could see a couple dust motes in there, but it's it got some color. It's pretty amazing. Alnitak, how bright that star is. It's just almost drowns out everything else.
So, Mirko, out of curiosity, what is the draw to the imaging that you have? It's kind of neat to hear people's perspectives, and what motivates you? I mean, what is it?
What really
What inspires you?
What really motivated me to take pictures was like, I spent about 30 years as a observer. So it wasn't until like 3 years ago that I stuck a camera onto my telescope, but I was trying to get out to dark sites and actually observe and with my own eye through a telescope. And I wanted to go, you know what? I want to take
It's a great way to do it.
I want to take a picture of this thing and mount it up on, put it up on the wall, and or have a catalog of all these photos that I've taken, so that I can say, this isn't the Hubble Space Telescope, but it's something that I got, and
Right.
there's a process to it, and it gets me out there, in the remote areas that I can appreciate the night sky for how it should be viewed, and away from city lights, and just it basically gets me out I like the like getting out, taking photos, and it's pretty fun. That's why I do it.
I just got a text from Simon, and he just thought he's watching the show right now, and he thought maybe it'd be kind of interesting if you just, if there are there any processing tips that you might want to share or say about, or is that a little
Processing tips.
hard to say, or?
Well, I'm trying to see like.
Wow, that's nice, by the way.
So I don't know, like the Hyperstar. Here's one thing that I've found and I've learned about the Hyperstar is that because it's such a fast optic, and that Pleiades is actually a good one example.
This picture's amazing,
Yeah.
by the way.
It's because it's such a fast optic. You'll get flares with the Hyperstar.
Like right in here,
Yeah, like
basically?
something. Yeah, so that's
Let me
not
put that back
that's
here.
so. That's one thing I've learned is that if
right
you
here.
need to find out what star is creating that flare, and that star that creates that flare. I found this is the lesson I've learned is that having that star centered in the view actually will reduce the amount of flaring. It's kind of weird, but
Interesting.
the Horsehead the nebula that I took with a very bright alnitak, I was able to take that with the Hyperstar, and
Right.
and reduce the flaring. But, as
But
far
you
as,
said by centering it, you said.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that would make sense because you get curvature and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So.
But I mean,
Reflects.
as we kind of go through this, I mean, I'm in the same boat. You're like me. You've learned a lot of this through the internet, done these kinds of. I mean, that's all of what I've learned how to process and measure asteroids and do this thing. It's all been through watching YouTube videos and
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
through all this kinds of stuff. So I guess the idea is that for people, I mean, look, I'm seeing the difference from where your images, where you started to where you're at today, which is amazing. But it's all just you're constantly getting out there. It's like being a basketball player, man. You gotta
practice,
you gotta
yeah.
practice. You gotta get out there and do it. I mean, Simon, who's chiming in, will be the first one to tell you, hey, put a camera on your telescope, man, and just go shoot.
Simon was a trooper,
you
man.
just got to go out there and do it. Don't expect to get the most beautiful shot in the world.
Yeah.
You got to enjoy what you're doing. I mean, and take the time to work on it, to grow on it. And you start to find that certain things work, certain things don't. I mean, you were. I know one thing we wanted to talk about was this cool little ASI setup that you had going on here. Let me see if I can find that here. You
the manual, yeah.
the
so
manual, right? Let me hang on one
Which
second.
manual was it?
This is the ASI Air manual. We wanted to.
Oh yeah.
It would be great if we could be able to actually capture and process. I can actually show.
You really
what I
like
do.
that. Yeah, it's kind of cool. That's what Simon was talking about.
This
so
is
people
the-
have kind of an idea
what you're using here, right?
Yeah, so that's what I'm using to acquire the image. To basically what it interfaces with the camera and the telescope, and I basically tell. Well, this is a little computer. It's a Raspberry Pi computer. It Wi-Fi's to your phone, and it actually gives you a screen capture of what it's a remote. Think of it as almost like a remote desktop, and that's the computer seeing what the computer is seeing, and then you tell it, okay, I want 20 shots of this target with this gain at 180 seconds, and it will do it, and it saves it all on that little teeny SD card that
Yeah.
you see there, and then you take that data, plug it into your computer, and you start processing right away. Now, I wanted to go back to what Daniel asked. Do you have any processing tips? My whole processing is really I try to just keep it as simple as possible. I don't go too crazy with star. You'll see other videos of star reductions.
Oh, it's
all
an
these
art,
other-
it's an art form.
it
in
is an art
itself,
form,
you know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you see
It
guys
is.
get
It's
excited
subjective.
Yeah.
about
You could
drizzle and hey, you got to do this
Yeah.
and try this, and it's cool.
It is cool. It's
for sure.
Basically, how much time do you really want to devote to it? But I'm trying to do what I'm doing in say an hour or 2 hours. Some people will spend a week on an image, and sometimes I even go back and say, hey, you know what? I learned something new to reduce noise. Let me give it a try. And that's basically it's an iterative process. And every time you find something that you like that works, I recommend write it down, write down the steps so that you can have a consistency to it, and that will help a lot too. So if you learn something new, where in that process does that fall into? I mean, I haven't imaged since February, and I'm actually afraid that I might have forgot how to use PixInsight. So it's kind of.
I know. Yeah.
And this was the, you
practice.
said that this unit can be controlled from your iPhone. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
And the interface that it has there.
Yep.
Let's see if I can find that. You said it was in here.
I think it's, there it is, keep going. So yeah, so the interface, so basically what I see on my phone is this.
It's kind of cool how they, Mike, you passed it, but it was kind of neat how they showed the link of how everything attaches.
Oh, how to, yeah, that's what I
That
was
was
on there,
kinda
right?
cool.
Let me go back
Yeah.
to that.
So there it is. There's your,
Right here?
right there. There it is. Oh, you went past it.
I think there's a little delay.
That's what it is, yeah.
There's a little delay in what Daniel's seeing.
I think
right
he was
now.
talking about, keep going, that one
Right here.
right there, yeah.
Well, it shows all the, the various cabling.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of shows how everything links up. Yeah, sort of there. There you go.
So they've been updating this every so often. It now supports Canon DSLRs, so you can you'll plug into your Canon DSLR and control it.
Let me go to the interface. This is the interface on the phone you were saying.
Yeah. And the great thing about it is, like, I hate taking my laptop out in the field, and it's just, if you have other observers out there, it's, they're trying to use their best night vision. So when you have like a, even with the red screen over my laptop, it's still bright. It will still mess up your night vision if you're trying to observe through a telescope. So keeping it with a low profile on a phone is also helps in that matter. But this is what the screen looks like. And as you can see, you have at the top of the screen there, you'll have your main camera, and then you have the camera with the plus sign is your guide
Right
camera, and then you have your telescope control, and it's going to support filter wheels. The next one is the filter wheel.
Right here.
Yep.
Okay.
And then that's what's on your on the disc, and it's amazing how intuitive they made this little piece of software. I mean, it is so simple to use.
It's pretty straightforward.
I gotta tell you, man, it is way easier than just, you got PhD, and then you have Sharp Cap, and then you have, Sequence Generator Pro. Those are a bit more complicated, I would say, their interfaces than this. But the reason why this was created really is for the folks that pick up and go, that set up and tear down, drive somewhere. I don't see it as something you would use like for your permanent, if you had a permanent observatory setup or something like that.
Yeah. I'm using Sharp Cap here,
Yeah.
basically. So, and what you're seeing here, if I go to this main cam, what you see is these three screens and this screen are off the one big tower computer.
Mm-hmm.
This other computer next to you is controlling these two. And what I have is all image and do all my processing with this system here, but then this computer controls the telescope via Stellarium. So I'll do all the control here, and then I'll use Sharp Cap to image, and on PixInsight, and then Astrometrica obviously to measure the stuff as well. So, but this is really a slick system.
It's really slick. And Daniel, I don't know if you might want to tell your customers is that this thing it interfaces with. So on my phone, it also interfaces with what is it? Sky Safari. Yeah, Sky Safari Pro. So I'm running Sky Safari on my phone, and it will, if there's a target on that app, I can point to it, and it will control my telescope. So
That's cool.
That's slick.
I
Wow.
mean, I mean, I use Safari all the time because it's the program I use for what I do. But
it plate solves, it guides, it debears. It's amazing what it does. That little teeny box that's under $200.
Gotta love technology, man.
hey, Mirko, I think your audio might be out from what I'm hearing, from what I'm told. I don't know if Brandon knows. Can Brandon hear?
Here.
It does?
Can I talk again?
Talk, Mirko?
Test 1, 2. Can you hear me out there?
It takes a second.
Yeah, the delay. How much delay is it? Like 10 seconds or something?
Shouldn't be that much. You're on.
cool.
Let me.
Oh yeah, it is. It just got really quiet. Like it was fine a second ago, and then it.
Oh, okay,
Oh, it did? Well, hang on a second. Let me do this.
that's cool.
This could be why. Hang on.
Thank you, Simon.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm shouting too.
That was weird. I could hear it fine just a second ago.
Technical difficulties.
How about now? Talk, Mirko?
Test 1, 2.
Here you go. I'm seeing a bounce on the meter there. Keep talking for me.
All right.
That's better.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
The
There's
thanks,
like
son.
there's like okay, so the software's programmed for a like 3-second delay or something. So it's a little bit.
The wireless receiver just lost signal off of your microphone. That's why. It was flashing a light at me, and I just turned it back on and off. Talk again, Mirko.
I
Check
think Simon
1 2.
says
That is
he
okay.
got it.
So-
It
Maybe
rings
Simon's
good.
just messing with it, though.
Simon, are you?
You know what?
controlling stuff?
You know what? It's
Simon,
throwing me
is
off.
Simon
remote
shoots all
in
my
here?
videos, so he's gonna be like on me like white and rice.
It throws me off because I only have one earbud.
So I just want to mention that I do. If any of your viewers are out there that are looking to get some information on getting started in this hobby, I put together kind of like a guide, a quick guide that can pretty much shorten the learning curve if they're interested. And it's basically I can send you a link and share it via I put it on my cloud, on the cloud.
For sure. For sure. I'm gonna just put this up here real quick. Here's that ASI Air that we're looking at.
Oh wow! Okay, they're selling in packages now with a guide camera. That's pretty cool.
So real quick, I'm going to plug something here too. We got a promo code, guys. If you purchase anything that's not on sale, there's some limitations, but we basically have promo code Asteroid Hunter in there, and if you put it in there in the checkout box, you're going to get a discount on your order. You'll get a percentage off your total. So Asteroid Hunter is the promo code to use. So please do it. We love telescopes.net. They help us out. Help my son and I to help support the channel and help us in our chase of the asteroids and things like that. So there's the Hyperstars that they have as well. This is really slick. Have you seen this new Raza scope that's out?
Yeah.
This is really cool, man. This
F2,
deal.
right?
F2, yeah. Straight out of the box. F2 unit. They also have an 11, and then I think they have a 14 as well. So imaging only, no visual of any kind, but
These
You know.
are pretty pricey tubes. So I'm trying to. So these are just super high quality as far as the optics go, right, Daniel?
Sorry, what's that?
we're looking
As
at the
far as
Raza.
Razas, so they're a bit
Yeah.
pricier than the say HD tubes.
Oh yeah, totally. And it's really a dedicated astrograph, is what that is. You have versatility because you can shoot at f10, f7, and f2 roughly. So
And you can observe with
depends.
So these are
And you can
strictly-
observe. You can't observe with these scopes.
These
So
are strictly just photography.
Yeah.
yeah, but if you're a dedicated imager, I mean, this is cool way to go. We've sold a few of these scopes.
Yeah, there's a gentleman
They have an 8-inch now, too.
that I follow on YouTube, Dylan O'Donnell. He's out of Australia.
Yeah, you get Mike. You and him have been corresponding quite a bit,
he's
right?
got he's got a Raza 11.
Yeah, he's
and
cool.
A really cool guy and
Yeah.
really sharp.
Is he watching the program right now? Do
I
you
don't
know?
know.
or-
Hey,
I hope.
Dad.
But
Good.
His mic is down again.
His is?
Yeah.
Check
See.
1 2.
Oh, it could be the battery in here.
Mic sounds very loud.
It
Oh,
does.
sorry.
Okay.
Here, let's see. Maybe I spoke up too loud.
I don't know. It just sounds.
That's all right. Let me do one thing here.
It might be something
Even yours got quiet too. Like the mixer kind of freaked out. I think.
I know Simon's going to have a boatload
Okay, yours.
to
It's okay. It's live stream. I don't know why that is happening.
technical malfunction right there.
Yeah, who knows?
Hey, Brandon, you hear me okay or what?
You
Yeah,
should
it's
still
cool.
be on there, right?
Check
Yeah,
1
it is.
2.
You can clip it back on. It's fine.
Mine does, Brandon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom.
Can you hear me, Brandon?
I'll just go ahead and leave the receiver on the table.
Yeah,
there, so I don't
maybe
know why
I'm-
it's doing that. It's dropping the signal off of him for some reason. I don't know.
Let me see if I can get you a.
That's a live stream for you, ladies and gentlemen. What can I say? We got a lot of technology going on in this man cave, so can only do so much here.
Man. It's true. There's your Hyperstar.
Yeah, right there.
HD. It says HD in the
It
middle.
says HD right there.
That's something
Interesting.
to be aware of.
Yeah, so the Hyperstar The ones that don't say HD are not for the HD, and the ones that say HD are for the EdgeHDs.
It says
That's
that
what
right
Dean
there.
told me there, and he said there absolutely is a difference.
All
So
right.
if you are going to purchase a Hyperstar or get one used, make sure you get the appropriate one for your tube,
I'll say that on there.
because that is very important.
Yeah. Did he say anything about the newer version having it, or? I mean, he said he said that they're supposed to have that on there, so you know which one's which.
Yes, so you know which one's which for sure. But if you're running an EdgeHD, you want to have the HD Hyperstar. If you're not, then you don't have the HD in there. So
We got a question coming in about where Mirko resides.
okay,
I guess.
hang on a second.
As
real
far
quick,
as the
Mirko.
imaging, because I think you said, did you talk about imaging from home or something?
Yeah,
So
Hang on, Mirko.
Santa
I'm
Monica.
gonna do a
That's Santa Monica,
I'm
California.
gonna change something on you here real quick.
Who's changing me?
No, you guys, just give me 1 second. I've got a.
I think he's going to switch out.
I'm gonna switch out a battery on his microphone because I think I've got a.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
I might have a battery issue going on. So give me 1 second here,
That's cool.
Mirko. I'm sorry.
You turn his volume down.
Yeah, but I don't. Let me just change the batteries. It's probably these
That's
batteries
cool.
that I have are just not running good. So if not, I'll hand him my microphone. He can.
Hey, Mirko, for visual use, though, right now, for the most part, just going back a bit there, because you started out visually, you're using the, well, you got the Explorer Scientific Dob, the 16-inch,
It's
right?
an amazing
So
job.
I remember you were like, I remember you calling me about that and telling me about it. So how's that working for you?
Oh man, it is just I got to tell you, I love it.
Hang on
Yeah,
one
I
second,
got-
Mirko. Before you
got
start
Nexus.
talking,
Okay.
let me just put this in.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mike has one here on his Osmani GM8. He loves it. So,
All right, Mirko, talk.
and Surge is so
Check
awesome.
1 2. Check
Yeah,
1 2.
You're there.
Let me check that.
Okay.
So
I just
the
changed the
battery
batteries on the receiver, so hopefully it'll continue on.
back.
So we'll try
All
that
right.
and see what happens.
So,
Go ahead and say-
Santa
yeah.
Monica is where you're doing the imaging
Yeah.
from. That's what's.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're pretty much, I don't know the Bortle zone, but we're like, I forget, it's either an 8 or it's not quite the white zone, it's the red zone on the map.
Go ahead, Daniel. You were asking him a question again. I'm sorry.
No, I was just
Yes,
telling. I was just talking about, well, two things here: where he images from, when he's at home, which he mentioned, and then how he started out with the scopes and when he was doing visual, and then he kind of graduated and worked his way up to. What's kind of funny though is everybody has a different
Path, yeah,
path
for sure.
that they go on, and you can't really. It's just everybody's different. You started out visually, but the funny thing about it is as a retailer, as we are at telescopes.net, a lot of people that come in don't even care about visual whatsoever. I mean, they just literally just want to jump into imaging. So, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody just has their own thing, what they like, and that's the way it is.
it's
I
pretty-
don't follow that path, but that's fine.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Even taking pictures now, I look at something like, say, like for this Pleiades example,
Yeah.
If you zoom in, I think if you go to that larger one, with the Hyperstar, like I'll look at stuff in the background and go, oh my gosh, there's like this
this one?
crazy galaxy like way back.
Yeah, I know. You start seeing
you start
things when
seeing
you're imaging
stuff
in
and
the
you're going,
backgrounds and
that thing's
like,
like,
whoa.
200 million light years away or something. And I'm trying to remember. I don't think maybe it's not in this image, but there should be. There it is.
Yeah.
An edge. This
Right
little
down
guy
here,
right there.
right down here.
You see that? You see that little?
Right there.
That little thing is a spiral galaxy about 100 to 200 light years away.
way out there.
200 million light years away.
Yeah, it did.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty faint. I'd probably guess further than that. Did you check the stats on that?
I have not, but
Okay, because I would bet that's a lot further than that. But it's cool. That's
Yeah.
one of the things I do visually. But not looking at that galaxy, I think probably looks like it's what.
Right,
What
yeah, right.
magnitude does that look like?
I can try.
18th or
I'm
17th,
curious
18th?
now that we're.
Yeah, no, the reason I say that is because you kind of gauge when you look through a scope.
Yeah.
Amateur scopes, you see a couple hundred, million light years out. And stuff that you look in the Virgo cluster visually in big scopes, that's about, 50, 60 million light years out. So, but the Pleiades, for those that are interested or curious, is that this is What's fascinating about the Pleiades cluster, I'll just talk about it a little bit so people appreciate what they're seeing here. And this object's about 420 light years away. And what you see here is reflection nebula. And reflection is blue and emission is red typically in photographs, so that's what you would see. And what was interesting about the Pleiades, when you look at the history of it, is that astronomers actually thought that the nebulosity was the nebulosity from which the stars were born. And then they later learned that it was just a cloud that happens to be transiting in conjunction just at this, you know, they're not moving in the same direction, the nebulosity and the cluster. So the reality is the cluster itself did not form from the nebulosity that you see in reality. And they're two separate things. So the nebulosity is going one direction and the cluster is going another. So they're not really astrophysically associated with each other, for those that are curious.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Another thing too is that the Pleiades is one of the most beautiful objects you can look at in a pair of binoculars or, you know, in a wide rich field telescope. It's really gorgeous. And you can easily pick up the nebulosity.
Yeah.
You know, it looks like this very faint cloud.
40 millimeter eyepiece, man, in a 10-inch scope. It just looks, you get to a dark sky and you look at this with your eyes, it's just incredible.
Gorgeous
nebulosities.
You know, photographs is one thing and then visually it's another. And
by the
So
way,
we know what this galaxy is.
yeah, so we looked up the galaxy. You were right, Daniel. 283 million light years away.
oh, it's a little bit further. Okay.
Yeah, magnitude.
I would have figured even further than that, but that's fine. I wasn't. But yeah, it's just too doggone faint.
UGC
Did they give
283.
the magnitude on there too?
Yeah, 16th magnitude.
Yeah, that's what I figured, something like that. Because that's just so tiny and so far.
Yeah.
You know?
Actually, next time I have my Dob out and that thing is up, I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can see it with my eye.
Yeah. I mean, so you know, if you're at a really dark sky and you have like a light bucket, you know, you can get
Yeah.
down to pretty faint stuff. You know, 15, 16 magnitude probably, and then it just starts to get really too faint to see. And the other thing is that magnitude scale is so logarithmic.
Yes.
It's
yeah.
like
It's
people
crazy.
don't understand it. That'll be another discussion I think we'll go
Think of
into
it as
in the
like
visual arena.
yeah, if you understand basically like the logarithmic scale of like the Richter scale, you know, like a
Yeah.
8th magnitude earthquake.
Yeah.
Is,
But isn't that what's
yeah.
so cool about imaging? You pick up this stuff that you just wouldn't see with the naked eye, you know, looking through a telescope. So it's a different kind of thing. You know?
Absolutely.
And that's one of the reasons a lot of people image too. They want to see stuff that they can't see
yeah.
with their naked eye, you know?
Can we real quick talk about since we're talking about some of this stuff, the importance of matching your camera for your
Pixel
you know,
size, focal
pixel
ratio.
size versus you know
yeah, that's a good
just
one.
understanding how important it is
Tell 'em about
to
that.
match the pixel size versus the scope that you're using. You know, I know that there's a formula that they talk about using the pixel size divided by the focal length times 206 gives you the arc second per pixel, and you want to be between 1 and 2 ideally, which I kind of did that on my focal length with my 11, and I'm at like 1.5, like I'm right in the middle where I'm supposed to be. But basically, it's important to look at the pixel size of the camera versus
Do we
the
have
focal
a
length of what you're
simulation
seeing.
of
you know?
undersampling and oversampling? And
Yeah, let me see about
Because-
that. I don't know.
I'm glad
people
you
might
guys are bringing
still be
this up.
confused what that means. And you can see
Something
it.
I
It looks
totally
like,
overlooked.
yeah.
Yeah,
We
I'm
might
glad-
have I have a little thing on the billboard at work at our store.
And you know what I use,
To show
guys?
people.
I use this thing on the web. It's called Astronomy Tools,
Yeah.
and they have this.
We were talking about that.
Yeah,
in the
this
previous
this
video,
this
yeah.
it's called a CCD suitability calculator.
Yeah. You can
Is
just
it right in here?
Google
Yeah, it's under
Astronomy
calculators.
Tools CCD
Yeah.
calculator.
So they're there.
Right here.
And
It'll
then
come
there's
up.
CCD.
I use it all the time. You can use
Suitability.
it for eyepieces and imagers. You know. There you go. That's a cool site.
And then
Field of
down
view
at the
calculator.
bottom, I think it shows you,
CCD
like you just
calculator.
plug in your telescope.
What you have.
Just go
So
to
like-
field of view calculator.
So, I don't know, Celestron 9.25.
Yeah, punch in your scope.
Which is gonna be.
Let's keep going. I
Hey
think
Mirko,
it's
while he's
down.
looking that up,
Yeah.
are there a lot of scenarios where you're cropping your images, or do you always crop? What's your deal with that? People have this obsession, like it's got to be pinpoint to the edge, and Simon's like, just forget it, crop it, you know, because everybody gets so
No,
bent out
nah,
of shape, and they go through all this
1600.
Yeah.
This one?
process.
Yeah, go ahead. You can.
Yeah, so I
And Simon's like, stop worrying about it, just crop
like
it.
this
and be
image
done
right
with it.
here, I think is uncropped. Well, the Pleiades image. But yeah,
Yeah.
when it comes to galaxies and stuff like that, I'm not afraid to, I'll crop the heck out of that thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
especially
that's
with
fine,
wide
you
field
know?
too, it's.
It's just funny to me, imagers, they spend so much time on these academic exercises, like, worrying about that stuff. And Simon's
Yeah.
attitude is just like, crop it, man. Stop
Yeah.
obsessing over this stuff, Simon just gets down and dirty, man. He just digs into it. He doesn't, he's like you, Mirko. He just gets out in the field, and some people are different. Some people want everything handed to them. And Simon, you're a trooper, man.
Your focal lengths changed here though because you're running.
Yeah. So it's like
where are we at? We're at
you
like
could-
400 and something.
Yeah, you could do 460. No, 560. 560, I think, is what I'm at. So yeah, so this
So
thing
see
you
is
want to
at
be in
1.4. So we're right in the right where we're supposed to be.
Yeah,
in
but where's
between.
the image thing? Because
The
when
image
you
scale?
select your object, I see what you're doing. You're just
So
doing
this is basically
you're
when
doing
you.
the
This is a
pixel size.
quick
This is the-
calculator.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I understand.
It's telling you the arc second per pixel basically.
Yeah.
And you want to be between 1 and 2, which, and just so people know, I'm just gonna. Oops, I want to just go to.
What is it? The Stahil star test? I forget what it's
Well, I
called.
want people to know when we
Brandon.
talk about right now, we're looking
Oh,
at.
that's all right.
We've got an EdgeHD 9 1/4, and
No, it's okay, never
that's
mind.
not really the
I'm
focal length of the telescope, but it is when we put Hyperstar on. So when I go to Hyperstar, I'm going to go to Starzona here, and I'm going to pull up
we're
just so
good.
we can see that focal
I
length.
just wanted to double check.
Yeah.
Make sure.
And it is there's the 9 1/4.
Yeah.
And if he should have a little graph or the box on right here. So you have a version 3?
3, yeah.
So
I think I
540.
have it.
So yeah, basically, our field of view is much wider than it would be without this. So that's just so people know that's where we're coming up with that.
540,
So if
yeah,
we go to 540, it even puts you in a 1.45.
Yeah.
So that's where we're getting that number from, just so everybody's clear.
Do we
Our
have an
focal
image
length
though
is
where it
actually
shows what an
different,
oversampled image looks like with pixels and then undersampled?
Well, let me see if I can find something here.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, that's cool.
But I'll pop back over here while I'm.
The
oversampled
Pleiades is
star
pretty
image.
cool. It's kind of funny to see the Pleiades without diffraction spikes. I shot it with a long time ago with an Epsilon 180, and it
Yeah.
looked so gorgeous in that scope. Oh
And
my goodness.
And that's the thing with the
Epsilon
Hyperstar is
130,
pretty
yeah.
cool. You could strategically set up the cables and the wires,
Yeah.
90 degrees apart, as you could see in this one.
Yeah.
I had
There you
some
go.
stuff all over, but
So
yeah.
here's what happens when if you're starting to fall out of that between 1 and 2 range. These kinds
Yeah.
of things can start to happen where you get oversampled or undersampled. This is
Right.
what your stars can start to look like, right?
Yeah. So
And then there's
undersampled
binning.
blocking.
Cameras do binning where you put
But it's-
pixels together.
It's important to figure out what your focal length is, what you're going to be shooting. It's kind of a huge thing, right? Obviously, I mean, if you're shooting, planets, then probably this may not be the setup for you. You want to go with something else entirely, as opposed to a Hyperstar as well. But maybe you do or you don't. These are things to think about and kind of what you want to be trying to do. Correct, Daniel?
Yeah.
As you're getting
absolutely.
into this, but it's important to figure out what camera. Pixel size is everything, so figuring out what camera works best with these setups that you guys have, it's really important to see that, you know.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. I have a friend. He's shooting with a camera that has a very small sensor, and very small pixel size. So the resolution is very good, and he's shooting at like 900 millimeters, and it's about his images are about basically the same resolution as
Thank you, Simon. Appreciate that. He just sent us this graph right here so we
Oh,
can
cool.
see.
as
Oh,
like
that's
a
cool.
a new
There you
Cassegrain
go.
F10.
That's what we're
people.
looking for.
That's
Thank you,
really
Simon.
explanatory there.
Exactly sampled.
Yeah.
I like it. That's where you want
That's
to be.
a really cool illustration. Yeah, you can see where you're wasting pixels and
But see, there's some thought involved in what you want to do when you're trying to achieve this stuff and think about what you're trying to go after. I mean, probably the majority of the people out there want to chase deep sky stuff. Is that correct, Daniel? Is that what you come across? The majority is people
the
want
vast
to,
majority
vast
of
majority.
people. You mean for you want to do deep DSLR?
When they want, yeah, for our photography, they really want to shoot deep sky stuff. I mean, is that?
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They all want to shoot DSOs, and I always, I usually suggest to try a tracking device, which I think we discussed in our previous video. That's what blew me away about Mirko when using that 10-inch. I was like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. He's using a 10-inch. I mean, most people wouldn't even image with a Newtonian in the first place. Most people don't, but you can do it. And there's some great people that are. Who's that Asian guy that? What's his name? I forgot. Just clicking. He's wonderful, but I think his videos are a little bit out of date now because the technology is constantly.
I think I know what you're talking about.
The viewers probably know, but I think he was talking about Newtonians, how there could be a good choice and a cost-effective way of doing it. I mean, they're not that expensive.
The one thing I love about Newtonians is exactly that, Daniel. It's super cost-effective.
Yeah,
you
it's
can get an
cost-effective.
awesome 8-inch Newtonian scope for like $400.
I know, man.
I mean, it's like,
incredible.
and you're set. You're in.
But
you
what
know?
was cracking me up about you is yours was 10-inch. I was
Yeah,
like, and you had it, man. I was like, it's unheard of.
And it's crazy.
It's so important to have a solid platform,
And the reason why is just because it's a much heavier. If you go look at a 10-inch telescope, compare it to an 8-inch telescope, it's crazy how the difference is as far as the amount of weight that you're dealing with. And you want to go easy
Forrest
on your
Tanaka,
mount.
that was
Yeah.
it. Forrest Tanaka.
I watched.
Simon chimed in and let us know. And he's such a nice guy too. He had a good channel there. I don't think he's doing anything current as far as I know. I could be wrong about that, but he's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
The other thing too, I think, Mirko, one of the big misconceptions we have, you come in the store, right? We have a 14-inch ACF Meade set up on the floor.
Oh, I love. Oh,
And it's cool.
I drool
It's a
over that
cool
thing
scope.
every time I walk in there.
Beautiful optics. Well, people, I think you need that to image with, but what people don't realize is you can take beautiful wide field images with like a camera lens, And that's the thing. You got to help people unlearn things the misconceptions people have. Cameras are so sensitive now. You can do amazing stuff with a small,
the small 71 millimeter refractor. It's just incredible, like what I was able to get out of that. And yeah, you're absolutely right. That
you can go to Astrobin. Anyone can go to Astrobin and look this stuff up. Just punch in a camera lens that you're looking at, or a wide field scope. I was telling Mike last show that we did, the Essential 80 Explore Scientific, which is the scope I was going to bring here. Go to Astrobin. Look at what people do with it. It's amazing. A lot of images from it.
Galaxies, nebula. Yeah, it is that's one heck of a scope.
It's all relative. I mean, if you're going to shoot really remote galaxies, like that little galaxy you see down in the bottom of the screen for the Pleiades here, you need a light bucket.
Here's something fun to I don't know if we want to show the difference, but we have this one and I have the William Optics version. I have the 71 millimeter version of Pleiades. I think you downloaded it, and I'm willing to bet that I think you could see that galaxy with the 71 millimeter. It won't have that quite the same resolution. There it is, the top one right over there.
That one right here.
Yeah.
Hey, Mirko?
Yeah.
I got a question coming
is.
in from on my cell phone here. One of the questions is,
Right there.
your original images, if you could show like what your original image is current versus your current, Because, it's a growth pattern. So people see like, how terrible your first image is.
Oh my gosh.
And
Can I
like,
show you guys
years, I'm like, wow, look at what I did.
Let me show you guys the first image I took.
Yeah, so people don't
Is it in
feel
here?
like
No,
they're
go to my
being-
Instagram. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned this because I just posted
Actually,
this.
you can thank Simon.
What's your?
Yeah.
He's watching this show right
to
now because
Dark
he
Sky
knows what
Explorer.
questions to ask. So.
Yeah, right there. There it is. So scroll up. There it is. Right over there.
This one?
Thank you,
That
Simon.
one right there. Pull this up. These are the first astro photos I took, okay? I don't know if you see
It's
this.
not the one I'm looking at, is it?
Right here.
Because what I'm seeing here is the Pleiades on my
Not
screen.
yet,
Is that
not
what
yet.
you-
Give it time. Go back to this one.
Yeah.
Let me just explain how I did this one right here.
What is that? Is that an M31?
That's
Those are your
M30
first images, right?
This is my first image.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. But this is really funny because
We've
this
gone
is what
from
people
here
get,
to here, people,
and
just
this
so
is
we're
what
clear.
Simon wants people to
Yeah.
understand.
This is what people need to understand.
So I want to
That's
show
hilarious.
what's funny about this one. So Daniel, so I just had my point and shoot camera, okay, with a 200 millimeter lens. I went up to I think Malibu Hills, and I took.
That's so cool.
I took 8-second exposures at 1600, and look at this. You're talking about stacking artifacts.
Look at it. It's all
Yeah, look-
misaligned.
Yeah, and I just basically
Hilarious.
took these.
That is so cool.
Stuck it in Photoshop, and from this point on, I was hooked. Okay.
But you know, it's funny
Yeah.
though. So on people that see this, that Mirko, look what he went through to accomplish what he's done. Now,
then-
do we have a current M31? Did I? Or
Yeah.
did
Oh
I?
yeah, yeah. I'll show you the current M31. Let me.
Yeah, look
Let me
at
show you
that.
this
oh
one.
my gosh, that's so
And
funny.
it's right here, isn't it?
That's what a lot of the images look like with the
So we
DSI
go from
camera
basically here, ladies
me
and
when
gentlemen.
People start out. What's that?
To right. Oop, I'm sorry. Why did it do that to us? Sorry.
That's really cool. That's a good question.
So
you
there.
know, then versus now.
So
See, so it didn't just come overnight. This
Yeah.
is a process. Wow.
We've
Now
gone
that's
from
where you're
here
at, right?
yeah.
To where we're at here.
Very cool.
Can you
Does
see
everybody
that?
want to know about this object? I'll tell you.
Yeah. You know, and even in this one, we get the variable star that Hubble used to actually determine that that star was in M31.
Yeah.
There's you probably know how to explain that better than I would,
Yeah.
Daniel.
I
The
guess at some
CFID
point
variable.
we'll talk about that kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
But,
Yeah, but this.
but I was able to actually resolve that star in this shot. So this-
Yeah, it's so cool. And you
Well,
can see
yeah.
NGC
But
206 in
so
the
this
dust lane
one-
there. See that on the right, that star cloud?
yeah.
That star cloud is colossal. Maybe you could put the cursor over it, Mike.
Where's it? Right
It's on
here.
the right.
Right side of the galaxy.
Keep going to the right. Up. Up a little bit. Right there. You just passed it. Go down.
Is it this guy?
Delayed.
It's that little
a little
patch
bit
of
of
light on the cloud there. Yeah. Keep going down.
Is it right here?
Bring your cursor down. It's a little star cloud
Oh, right.
on the
this
right
thing
side.
here.
It's,
This guy.
it's that little point.
This guy.
Keep going down.
This one.
Keep going. Right there. There you go.
That one.
That's
Sorry,
a
yeah.
cool, that's NGC 206. It's just this absolutely colossal star cloud in the dust lanes of M31. And it's kind of a cool thing to look for to kind of see how much you're picking up of, visually if you want to look at the galaxy. So, cool stuff.
That's a really cool one to actually observe too, because when you look at that, you can through like a 10 or 12-inch scope, you can resolve stars in another galaxy.
Yeah. The Palomar plates, they have real close-ups of this stuff. It looks amazing. You can see it.
Amazing. Wow.
So this object is like one of the brightest, the most distant, brightest things. Some people say M30 or M33. So on the really darkest nights, some people have claimed to see M33, which is just the opposite direction. So in the constellation there.
And
This is
then
about 2.5 million.
you had these guys, right?
So this was I basically took my 50 millimeter, my camera with 50 millimeter lens and held it up to my telescope eyepiece.
Oh,
and
you
that's,
did?
And that's what I got.
Okay.
And then the next one is another similar shot, but you could resolve the trapezium.
Yeah.
And then the one after it is my iPhone on my Dobsonian snapped Comet Pan-STARRS.
Oh,
I
okay.
just basically held my iPhone right up to
That's
the
cool.
eyepiece.
There, that's Comet Pan-STARRS, is it?
Yeah, Comet Pan-STARRS, and
That's pretty cool.
this was like I don't know, 2014. I can't remember when it was. But yeah, I mean, look what we're doing with technology now. We're taking pictures of
It's
space,
amazing.
just holding our
It's
phone
come
up to a
so
telescope.
far, And if you guys want to see amazing stuff this is Barnard stuff,
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
and you can see what this guy had. What he had was pretty elaborate for its time, But he certainly didn't have all the fancy stuff we have today, that's for sure,
Just find
And
the,
they're going to make
the
it
moon
easier
photo
and
was the recent
easier. It's
one I
getting
took.
there,
this one, right?
Yeah.
We just had somebody that put in the chat. They wanted us to talk about the recent moonshot. Is that this guy right here?
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I just basically took this shot the other day on
put that
the
up.
15th. This was kind of a struggle because I used the ZWO one-shot color camera.
That is just beautiful. Oh my
And
goodness.
I basically,
That is a beautiful shot.
yeah, I took 60 shots. I think it was like
Sorry, I missed it. What was this with?
0.03 of a second. ZWO.
What camera? I mean, what
The one-shot
telescope?
color, the 071, and I shot it through the Celestron tube with an f7 reducer.
Beautiful.
And I took 60 photos, and then I put them in Registax, which is that free software you can download. You just load them up. You tell it to find the sharpest 50% of those images, and then voila. It was a little struggle because with that software, I can't complain about free software. So I mean, I'm just saying, but there was a setting in there that I had. If you change the CPU cores down to 2, it will work. It will stack it. Whereas if it's higher, for some reason, it wasn't working for me. But yeah, it made a final image, and it saved a TIFF, and then I opened Photoshop, and then all I do is change the sharpness and the brightness and contrast, and I increase a little bit of saturation so you can get a little bit of the moon. A little bit of the moon color
cool.
showing up right over here, and that's how I did that one. That's how I
Very cool.
imaged that one.
That looks nice.
Yeah, that ZWO camera is just, I love it. It's just a great piece of hardware.
Wow. Yeah, last week we were talking about the scale of Tycho.
Yeah, we were talking about the scale of the crater.
Because people,
People say they can
Don't.
see the flagpole on the,
Oh yeah.
and we showed I still have that actually.
Actually, it's funny. I'm glad you guys are mentioning this because I figured out what the scale of 1 pixel of this image is.
yeah.
It is the 1 pixel that makes up this image equals 3,360 feet, or about 3/4 of a mile.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah,
That's the
these-
Empire State Building.
So here's the crater,
Who got
and then
this one?
Yeah.
and then basically
Oh, somebody put a what is
that's the Empire State Building.
Okay. But it was to
over-
help people
just to
understand.
help people
because
understand.
We were talking
that
last
is
week
awesome.
about because it's one of the top 10 questions in astronomy. There's a list in Backyard Astronomer's Guide, or it's not in Backyard. Sorry, it's in Night Watch by Terrence Dickinson. But people do. It's a legitimate question about do you see the flagpole on the moon? And so that's the central rebound
Right
that
here.
you see on Tycho
Yeah, that is.
and the Empire State Building.
That's
comparison.
amazing. That's pretty
so-
cool.
Yeah, I didn't put that there. That's on Wiki.
Yeah. so we
Whoever,
just
whoever added the
Wikipedia some.
shadow is you're gonna have a lot of flat earthers come on here and say, "See, I told you it's fake."
Flat
But-
It's true. It's true.
Sorry.
That's okay.
That's funny. Flat Earth. Yeah, so it helps you appreciate it.
I'll show this again for the gentleman. I don't know if he was watching, but just so you can see the moon there.
Yeah.
Simon says the reason why AutoStacker has issues when you have too many CPUs assigned is because the amount of RAM divided by the number of CPUs exceeded the image size stored in the buffer. The less CPUs assigned, the more RAM is made available to stack the image. So you got to have a
Hogwash,
Yeah.
Simon. I had 64 gigs of RAM.
64 gigs of
I'm just
RAM,
kidding.
Simon. Come on
I
now.
have a powerful
You need to have a powerful computer, which I can build for you here, buddy. We
Imaging
can do that here.
controversy,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
A little
We
bit
build
of
machines here.
I love Simon. I'm glad he's chiming in.
No, this is all.
it's cool.
Well, it's just it's like everything else.
yeah.
You can go as far as you want to go with this stuff, So that's why it's important that you realize what you're doing, because we get caught up in all this kind of stuff and forget about the beauty of what you're actually looking at and what you're actually doing. I think that's super, super important, Otherwise, you start staring at numbers on a screen and looking at charts and graphs and color gamuts on the stuff, and then you start
Yeah.
losing it,
Yeah, and I want to just give a shout out. Simon was really cool. He was trying to help me because I was actually chatting with him while I was trying to process that one moon shot, and I was like, Simon, this darn thing won't. I give up.
Yeah.
He said, Mirko, just export to JPEGs and have an easier life. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. At the end of the day, right?
Yeah, at the end of the day, and it's true. It still comes out great.
Well, and it's like I said, it's so subjective
Yeah.
about all this stuff, and that's the tricky part about imaging, is it can be very subjective on how things go. They actually worked out that you need a telescope the size of Earth to resolve the flag. He said,
That's funny.
That is funny.
Yeah, they did a. Well, actually, I won't talk about that right now. But we're going to have other guests on the program, which is kind of cool. I want to eventually get Rogelio Bernal on here, the Spaniard. I don't know if he's
that's a
watching
hard
right now. I don't
nebula.
think he is, but Rogelio is just like my favorite imager on planet Earth. I mean, there's Adam Block and there's all those world-class guys, but we wanted to have Mirko here because it's pretty cool what Mirko has accomplished in this period of time. It's pretty remarkable, you know. And so we're going to have different guests. We're going to have Brian Cogdell from originally with Celestron. Well, he was with Orion, then he went to Celestron. Now he's, you know, around and about.
Pretty neat to see these images.
So yeah, and in the meantime, we'll be father-son chasing asteroids and collecting data and for the Minor Planet Center, which we're enjoying tremendously, you know.
Can I mention something that blew me away when you were on one of your episodes? You were downloading your frames. You were uploading your frames to a database, and I was so surprised that
NovaAstronomy.net.
yeah, there was 150 moving objects in that one frame.
Yes.
Registered moving
yes.
objects.
I know.
In one small piece of sky.
And that's the whole thing. I mean, you won't know. A lot of times you won't see it, right? And
Yeah.
but you put it in Astrometrica, you plate solve, and you put the overlay, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, there's 50 asteroids flying around there. And there's stuff that we didn't even know that I had captured that was in there.
Yeah.
You know, there's a few asteroids that was like, oh, I guess I captured that with that. You know, so it is phenomenal, and I'm sure you go through the same thing. You look. I guarantee you got tons of asteroid data in your images that
Probably
you don't
there.
know about.
Oh, I'm sure.
Mirko, your friend
Guaranteed.
Tim's
There's
watching,
tons of
I
it
think.
all over the place that you're not aware of. You know.
Mirko, your friend Tim's watching too, I think.
Oh, what's up, Tim Morrill?
Yeah.
Much
yeah.
appreciation to Tim. He's awesome.
You better thank
Follow
Simon.
Tim.
He's the one giving me all this information. What the heck was it? By the way, Simon Tang is going to be joining the program. So we should have Simon out here. I think he's going to discuss solar
Absolutely.
imaging. And by the way, did we get? I need a link to Simon's shot. Well, I guess he'll talk about it. But you guys should have seen that shot. Mirko, you saw that shot that Simon did of the ISS transiting the
Oh yeah, that APOD.
sun during
yes.
the APOD. He got an
Is that
APOD
on
award for
the
that.
telescopes.net website?
Please show that.
I don't
Yeah.
know, but Simon.
Where's
he
it at,
shot
Simon?
the
Give me a link.
International
It should be on-
Space Station
Come on,
traversing
Simon. Give
the
me a
sun
link,
during
man. I know
partial
you got it
eclipse.
somewhere.
I think
Because you can only get it in one part of the United States. I think there were two spots, one in Wyoming and
think it
one
was
here
on
in
APOD,
California.
yeah,
He
so
drives out to this
APOD.
remote area, and I saw all the data and the video footage and everything. It was amazing. Because I think when you do APOD or get an APOD award, you have to send all the information and stuff in on how you.
Did
got
he
the
have
shot.
it during the eclipse? Was it August
It
21st,
was.
2018? So go back to
Yeah, it was
archive.
during the eclipse,
no,
which
you
is
were in the
just
right
such
spot.
a cool shot.
Oh, yeah, archive.
And I think only four people in the United States got that shot. So Simon got that, which is so cool.
something. August 22nd or 21st. Let's see. We're looking for Simon's shot.
I think if you do ISS.
He sent me the link right here.
Eclipse,
Oh, there it is.
APOD.
Oh yeah, it's August 28th, right there.
Is it in it? Yeah. Oh, you found it?
I love this because it looks like a TIE
So
fighter is
cool.
going across the. Looks like a TIE fighter.
That is so cool. Yeah,
Thank you,
Simon
Simon.
shot that
Appreciate it, man.
picture.
Yeah,
That
look
is
at
such a cool shot. I
know
think he did a
Simon's-
combination of white light and H alpha. I guess he'll talk more about the details of it when he comes on the show program, which I think will be really cool.
Yeah.
But what's that?
I want to know when Simon's on. I got one. Hopefully you can ask him this for me. But I want to know how he or what tools he used to figure out, when that transit was
Yeah.
going to occur.
He sent it all to me. I don't remember all the details, but he goes through this. He really timed it. And I think he couldn't even be like a mile away from this spot or something. I think he had to be within a mile. I don't know. I don't know what it is. He knows all
wow.
the details of it. But it's kind of crazy. But that is such a cool shot. You
Awesome.
know? Yeah, and where he was at, you wouldn't get a full eclipse. You couldn't. So, but I think there was just a couple of places where you could get it. But that was pretty sweet. That was nice.
Yeah, we're gonna have Simon on and do some definitely some solar stuff. It's gonna be
Yeah, it'll be great.
real slick.
And then at some point, we'll cover different stuff. I'll cover
Yeah, we'll keep
refractors
having
and
special
reflectors.
guests
We'll talk
out
about
and
planetary and lunar observing and stuff.
absolutely, you know, trying to keep the flavor of the channel going, you know. So
Yeah, and it's kind of a bummer, Mike. You couldn't get some more asteroids. We
I
have
know.
endured the worst winter, and we love it, you know, but we hate it at the same time.
I know it's crazy.
Because this has been the craziest winter we've ever had, for whatever the reason, and it's really prevented us.
Well, I told Mirko, I said, my wife had told me the only reason it's raining is because you bought a telescope and needed to chase
I know,
asteroids.
that's always
I mean,
what
that's the only
happens.
reason. That's what happens
Yeah.
to me. That's my luck all the time.
That's so true.
It's so true. This is what we get into that, and then anything weather related, you know. So I do. I also have a pretty huge ham radio set up here in the garage. I'm pretty active in that, but we actually have a tower in the backyard. And it was the funniest thing. We
You know,
dug
I
we
try
dug a
not to have
4-foot hole for the
conversations with
base,
ham radio
and
guys.
it
They
literally
never stop
poured
talking.
the night after we dug the hole.
That
The
is
whole
the
thing
one
filled
thing
up with
about
water.
ham radio guys.
My wife's like, you know, hey, you want it to rain? Dig a hole. Buy a telescope. It'll rain. You know, that's what happens. So,
Hey, Mike, did you hear what I said?
what's that?
I do get customers that are ham radio guys.
Oh, I
And
know
my
you.
friend
I know you
Ridwan
have
in
one guy.
Casa
One of
is a
my
ham radio,
friends.
but he has situational awareness. But man, what is it with you ham radio people?
I know we're all crazy.
God, you talk forever, man.
Talk forever.
Yes, it's just like they don't stop talking. So when they tell me they're a ham radio, I don't ask any questions because
I
I
know,
never
right?
hear an end of it.
Well, again, it was another thing that my son and I were getting into, and I was in the search and rescue team when I was a young kid and did all kinds of stuff like that. So I loved it growing up, but it's just stuff I'm trying to get my son introduced to. So I would tell people through this, Mirko, you'd probably say the same thing. You got kids, man, like get them involved, man. This is a great way for them to learn about the universe and learn about stuff, science. And I mean, the fact is, my son and we're doing scientific research right out of our backyard. That's what we're doing. I'm gathering data for, to figure out these orbits of these asteroids for the Minor Planet Center. Because it's data that's needed, and there's a lot of this kind of stuff.
That's cool.
I mean, look, Simon takes an incredible picture. It ends up, on NASA's website. It's like you never know where things are going to go or what can happen, but you got to get your kids involved in this stuff, people. I'm just telling you right now, man. I'm doing everything I can because my son, pretty soon he'll be grown up and off to college and gone
Remember, he
away.
was
So I'm
like
trying to,
tiny little
this is my window,
tot.
right?
Yep.
So.
Yeah, Brandon was so funny. He was so tiny when he came in the store. So, but Mirko, thank you so much, man, for coming out
thanks
here
for coming by, man.
Yeah,
and
thanks for
sharing
having me.
your
It was a lot of fun.
experiences. And we're going to try to have really cool guests come on here and talk about, their experiences with astronomy, and it'll be fun. I think that'll be cool. Is there any finishing comments anybody would like to make?
Yeah, anybody out there, any other questions?
I don't-
Real quick, I'm just going to tell everybody, please join the Discord. Any questions, comments, anything. You guys want to post your equipment that you have out there? I got a space for that. You can follow us through that. We put announcements, all those kinds of things. We love for you to be on the Discord. And again, that's something that runs 24 hours a day. And Daniel's on there as well, so he can see any questions you have. I'm going to get Mirko on there as well. I'm gonna put some plugs here, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna do it, man.
Hey, don't forget about the merch.
I'm gonna plug some merch here. Hang on a second.
You know what I'm thinking? I would think it'd be kind of cool to set up like a bunch of imagers and do an image within an hour.
Yeah, well,
Data
maybe we can
That
try to
would
do
be
that
sweet.
for sure,
to do
right?
that live.
Data hour.
See what they're doing.
Have an iCloud set up and then gather the image and process it and broadcast it in an hour. That'd be
Hey,
cool.
man, asteroidhunters.net.
Oh wow.
That's our website. We got shirts. We got cups. Daniel, you got your cup, man? Show your cup, man.
I've been showing my cup all night.
Look at that,
unlike
man.
You.
Come on, baby. Right there. Look at Brandon's rocking a shirt. We got
I didn't get a hat.
sweatshirts. We got hats. We got
hat.
We got a cool
Where's the hat?
banner as well.
All right, cool. We got
And
Asteroid.
here we go. Look at
I like the hat.
Got telescopes.net.
telescopes.net on the
Nice.
back of the hat there.
I'll take one of those before I leave.
I know you will, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm wearing the NYPD because of Glenn Sergeant Ramroop in New York. Those guys are awesome. We're going to NEAF, so Glenn takes care of us. I love the NYPD.
So we love for you guys. YouTube Asteroid Hunters is the YouTube channel. We got Asteroid_Hunters is Instagram. On the ending screen, you'll see the actual descriptions of for the links for Instagram, for YouTube. We got a Facebook page, Asteroid Hunters. We've got over 100 and something people on our Facebook page as well. We'll be posting this video on there. We got a lot of followers on that, so we're just grateful to have you guys. And
Thanks for watching us.
you know, thanks for watching, man. If you like what you see, please follow us. Please join the
Subscribe.
Discord. Please subscribe. And check out the merch, man. We'd love to see. You know, send us emails with your merchandise at asteroidhunters@gmail.com. If you get any sweatshirts or something, send us some pictures of that stuff. But yeah, get on the Discord. We'll actually put Brandon, why don't we put create an imaging spot on the Discord as well. Let me
To put, like,
so people can post their images
oh, like
on here.
a merch image thing.
Well, they can just put you guys can post your images of your astrophotography images of
That too.
you know, we can post those kinds of things. So we'll actually put a little thing in here, guys, for you to be able to post your pictures, man.
Yeah, there's one.
Stuff that you-
there's
that
one
you
in
take,
the
you know?
Discord for like the setups of people's telescopes for them to post in
Yeah.
there too.
But we'll create one for their images as well.
Yeah.
So okay, but love to have you guys there. And again, we just thank everybody for watching. Thanks, Simon, man,
Yeah.
for the support. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
It's very
Simon
helpful, man.
Tang, thank you,
thank
sir.
you, sir.
And Mirko,
Awesome.
thanks so much for coming out, man.
Yeah, Mirko,
You're a
thank
cool
you.
customer and fun to work
Fantastic.
with.
You know, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Right on. Sorry for the small technical difficulties, but you know what? It's a live stream. That's what happens.
all right.
And you know what? I'm growing this. I'm trying to figure things out. I got a lot of stuff going on around here as I'm going. I got multiple cameras and everything else. So, all right, guys. You guys, everybody have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you next week.
Peace.
Got me loving in the morning, got me singing in the pouring rain, got me wrapped around a finger, I'm perfect in the palm of your hand. Message couldn't be much clearer, like a metaphor make-believe. Knew somebody would've pinched me, now we breathe the end of this dream. Well, pardon my manners, just something about you turns me to a savage. If I'ma be honest, I can't help but stare, yeah, I'm losing my balance. Got me running in circles around you to please, yeah, I do what I need to. So pardon my manners, just something about you turns me to a savage. Pardon my manners, but something about you turns me to a savage. Savage. And baby, every time you walk by, I can feel magic in the air. Promise this ain't a drive-by. I'm trying to sweep you up and keep you there. Got me running in circles around you to please, yeah, I do what I need to. So pardon my manners, just something about you turns me to a savage. Pardon my manners, but something about you turns me to a savage. Savage. Well, pardon my manners, just something about you turns me to a savage. If I'ma be honest, I can't help but stare, yeah, I'm losing my balance. Got me running in circles around you to please, yeah, I do what I need to. So pardon my manners, just something about you turns me to a savage. Pardon my manners, but something about you turns me to a savage.
Domino's here, there's a sound you should get used to.